So we're going to start out with Luna, and Luna has brought Kim Jess with her, right?
Yeah, that's about right. That's how these things happen.
Kim is the outreach coordinator for the Animal Protective Foundation. They're over at 53 Maple Avenue over in Glenville, and with her she's brought this beautiful cat, and just a real lap cat.
You know, exactly. And a lot of people will come in and ask, do you have a cat? I would like a lap cat, somebody that's friendly and loving. I mean, look at this. I don't even have to hold her.
No,
She's
you don't
just
have to hold her.
so happy just being
Just hope a mouse doesn't run by.
What? That's a possibility. Yeah, we're in the basement. That could happen.
Right.
But she's just a petite little girl. And look at this tail.
I can't believe that. It's almost got a Himalayan look to it with that fur.
And she's just a year old. So she's barely out of kittenhood.
Has she been spayed?
Of course. I'm glad
Oh,
you asked. Yes. Yes, all of our animals are spayed and neutered before they go out for adoption.
So they don't create more animals that need to be adopted.
Because we have so many, as you know, we talk about this often, but especially in the summer months, in the warm months, the animals are reproducing and the shelters and rescues are getting full.
How do we have animals that are reproducing? I mean, I understand how it happens. I'm not especially
that's a
with
whole
cats.
Another show, Ann, that we could do.
But I mean, if you have a cat and you have it neutered, I mean, won't they? I mean, doesn't eventually, you get less cats?
And we have seen the numbers go down. If we go back like 25 years, right now the APF is taking in about 3,000. You go back maybe about 15 years, it was 7,000. You go back like 20 years, it was even more. So the numbers are going down. And like anything else, it takes a while to kind of educate everybody why. I mean, think about when you were growing up. Did people spay and neuter? No, they did not. It wasn't even on the radar.
I guess you're right, because it wasn't even something you thought, oh, your cat's going to have kittens, and there's, and who are we going to give them to?
Right.
Oh, and I don't even want to tell you what my
Yes,
grandfather
yeah,
might have done.
I know. Well, we hear those stories all the time.
Oh, my
So,
goodness,
things are changing over the years. But it's like with every succeeding generation, and that's why it's so important to do humane education, to get in the schools and talk about it with kids that are young.
This is important because you've just had a essay and poster contest.
Yes. Yeah.
And we usually have the kids on, and this time we didn't because it's the last week of school.
Yeah, they're busy.
And they want to be part of their school programs and events that they're doing. How did that go? Can I hold the cat for a minute?
I know, you're just
wanting
that cat, and she is a sweetie.
Yeah.
It went very good, and just like every year, this was the 10th year we've done this contest. Reading the essays and looking at the artwork that the children do, they so get it. They really do. And it's so hard to pick the winners because there's so many wonderful entries that the kids have done.
Did you have?
We had over 400 this year. It was down. We had gone 800 to 1,000, but I've got to tell you, I think with the state education department didn't do us any favors this year with all the testing and the teachers. I mean, we heard from a lot of teachers because of, they're getting rated and graded too, that there was so much pressure on them. They didn't have a lot of time to put into these extracurricular activities, and it showed in the entries, which was kind of sad.
It's sad because what you're doing, I mean, they have to write an essay. I mean, it's part, oh, you're just such a snub here. They had to do something. They had to write something. They had to think about it. They had to develop it. And what was the winning essay? Can you remember what one of the winning essays was?
There were some. One in particular was from a 4th grader at Orenda Elementary School, and it made you tear up. This child had written through the eyes of an animal, which I always, am so amazed at because, again, they kind of get it. And I'll have to send it to you, Ann, because it'll just make you cry.
And I'll have to read it here. And I was looking, now here's what was handed out. You had how many winners? It's like...
We had 25 winners. We really tried to spread the wealth, and we have a really nice awards reception actually right in this room, and we invite the teachers and the principals, and a lot of them do come with the families and the grandparents, and see the kids all dressed up, and they get all kinds of awards. And do they read
their essays?
They read, unless they're shy. Some of them are very shy, and I'll read it for them, or they talk about their artwork, and it's just a really nice event. And like I said, these kids get it about how important it is to care for these animals that we have in our communities that are
I mean,
homeless.
it's the old be kind to
And
animals,
be
but it's
kind,
more
right,
than that even.
Right, because it really, it's not only to animals but to each other. So just to introduce that very important concept and talk about it and let the kids talk about it, it's just wonderful.
And we do know that how you treat your animals sometimes is a gateway to abuse.
Absolutely.
To human abuse.
Which is why humane education is so important. It really is.
And what other programs do you have? I know that you help with the kids learning with their dogs, making sure that they are good citizens.
Yes, we do. I frequently go into schools. I was at Craig Elementary this week. And here's just a typical, not a typical story, but a really nice story. This was a third grade, and a third grader had decided she wanted to do something for animals. So she went to her principal and asked if she could do a supply drive, which she did. And the third grade invited me in. So we just spent the morning. I brought all kinds of fun stuff. We did, I have like a multimedia presentation I do about the shelter, and just talked about animals, being safe, responsibility, and it was just a wonderful event. So I frequently go into those schools, and if any teacher hears this, you can contact me, because we go through everybody from pre-K to high school, all levels, whatever it is, talking to kids about it.
It's never too late to learn how to be good to animals. I'm looking like I'm furry.
You're going to have
I'm a furry person today.
You're going to have a little coat of fur after this segment. Absolutely.
That's okay. I don't mind having a little fur on me, because you know what? This is just such a sweet animal. If you're interested in adopting Luna, we're going to take the mic with me too. Oh well. Woo!
I just get a little frisky.
I'm going to give her back to you.
And we've cut all the adoption prices this week too. So all the adult cats, like Luna, and she's just a year old, are just $25.
Yeah.
Which is
Do you have a
really
special for
good deal.
seniors?
We do. So basically, if you're a senior, you can come in, and that's over 60, which really, these days, it's a young senior. You can come in. She'd be free, so. Come on down.
It's a good deal. Adopt an animal. Adopt an animal. And these kitties, and they don't require a lot of attention. They're housebound. You don't let them out of the house, right?
No,
Keep them in the
it's
house,
much
right?
safer in the house.
Yeah, much safer in the house. And they're great companions.
Absolutely.
And just a little hair once in a while, but that's okay. We can deal with that.
Yeah, we'll give you a brush.
Thanks. Thank you so much for being here today, Kim. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. We're going to take just a quick break and watch a little bit of the cirque. And when we come back, Kathy Gadd is going to tell us about Summer Night. Don't miss it. Stay tuned.